Hello and welcome to Pro Debate. Productive debates on pragmatic topics by professional speakers with their viewpoints. I am John Robert, your host and jury of this session. We have many paradoxes, two sides of the same coin, and quite often we have a choice to take a side. These sessions target to debate this out. In the process, we have an opportunity to learn not only the perspectives of the professionals, but also various examples, case studies, and strategies that we can implement in our work or life.
We have two interesting speakers today. One is Laila Fatima and Aravind Rudraraju. Laila is the lead of project management office in a large pharmaceutical industry. And Aravind also comes with a vast experience in leading project and program management in various industries. Let me give a brief introduction about the strategy. So there are a lot of material available in the world on strategy and execution, isn't it? And there are two important references I could take for this particular study. One is published by McKinsey Quarterly, which says that what matters more is a great strategy or great execution. McKinsey actually proves that the new research finds out that the strategy wins, especially the disruptive strategy that responds to powerfully to the digitization requirement. I stumbled upon another well thought of article as well, which is published by Harvard Business Review, which says that smart leaders focus on execution first and strategy second. And I have given references to these articles, and if you are interested, you can just go through them. So the larger question is, what is really matters more now? We know both of them are important ingredients of a successful business. But what is more relevant is what we are going to discuss today. There are two publications which are very interesting in these fields. One of my favorite is Blue Ocean Strategy when it comes to the strategy side. The other thing is on execution, titled Execution by Larry Bossetti and Ram Charan, which is on the execution side. And both of them provides a very interesting proposition of why strategy is very important and why execution is very important. Today, with the limited understanding, we are trying to attempt to answer this question. Let me first call upon Laila Fatima to provide a brief summary of why she feels that the strategy is really essential, why it matters most. And Laila, three major points. Why do you feel that strategy is important?
Okay. So thank you, John. Thank you, Aravind. And it's great getting together on this platform again. And we had a good experience in the past as well. So yes, like you said, this is a very deep-rooted topic, and you'd see hundreds of books and articles on this and a lot of discussions. And somewhere I think we can also relate to this. Being in professional and corporate businesses, we see both sides of strategy and execution. So on strategy, my three highlight points, which I have personally experienced, is my first point will be strategy is the heart of everything that we do. So personal, professional decisions, we need to plan, we need to strategize, we need to see what initiatives we take, how we are going to do. We need to understand what is our goal, what are our trends, what is the environment, internal, external. Any company starting any business would want to know what they want to really do, how strategy will connect you to your vision, to your mission, to your goals. I mean, so many words out there. So I would like to discuss about that first. The second point that I would like to talk about is strategy is like a power center. Here, I would like to draw an analogy to the brain. Like I said first, it's the heart of everything. Now I'm saying it's the brain. The way the brain controls your involuntary and voluntary movements and guides you to do something. Similarly, strategy will guide execution. It will drive execution. and it will make sure that your execution is smart enough. You're not just squandering your money and effort over something which is meaningless or which will not yield value or which will not be on strategy. That is, what are you really looking for? Am I looking to add a product with better features? Am I looking for cost saving? Am I looking for a niche segment? What am I really looking for? I cannot just go on executing tasks and executing projects and not really know whether I'm on strategy, whether I'm taking my company to the next level, to the next orbit, what is my trajectory, those things which sound quite superficial, but those are the guiding principles on which execution is actually planned, prioritized, and budgeted. My third point is again syncing to the growth strategy of a company, which draws from my second point. But importantly, since we all belong to project management, I had to bring PM here. And I feel that strategy will help you make good choices during execution. What I was referring to as smart execution. That, do I prioritize this or that? Can I procrastinate this project? Do I really need to spend so much money right now on this? Is it good time to say goodbye to this project? Maybe kill it on time. Strategic moves that help us better utilize our resources, our time, our planning, and take us through this whole mess that we are into, because everybody is working into very complex environments and we need to figure out what we are doing. And one interesting aspect is individually, we all contribute 100%. Everybody likes to score 100% at the end of the year. I have delivered my projects, I've executed my tasks, I have solved 100 problems. But are you really contributing to the company level? Is the company really growing as you are growing? So, that kind of connect is needed through strategic management, through appropriate initiatives. And so, yes, these are the three things I'd like to talk on. And you've already spoken on the disruptive thing. You have to be so smart these days that um, disruption doesn't wipe you out of your business.
Okay.
You have to be very smart to be keeping an eye on competition and see where competition is attacking you. So disruption is happening all around, and strategically you need to take initiatives at the right time to stay ahead of others. So yeah,
Okay.
I think those few points are from me. Thank you.
Excellent. Very well summarized. We will get into the details shortly. Meanwhile, let's ask Aravind to provide an executive summary of why Aravind feels that the execution is really matters more in today's business environment.
Thanks, John. Thanks, Laila, for making or setting the context with strategy. But I know strategy is important, but that's not the whole thing. I know you have done an analogy saying strategy is like the brain, but the whole thing is performed by the body. We have a lot of people who have a very healthy brain, very stronger brains, but physically the body is not fit. You cannot perform better or reach goals. So execution, seamless execution is also important. Like a lot of senior leadership also, if you look at them, they spend a good amount of time not just in strategy, but also in execution. Because if you don't know how to do it and perform it, if you look at the performance, all the performance is measured on your execution, or less on strategy. They look at what's your metric, how do you perform, and also improvisation. Those are things which will make you money. And there's one of the popular quote which I always like from Felix Dennis, which says, "Ideas they don't make you rich. The correct execution of the ideas does." So it's important how you execute the idea, and that's what it makes you stand out than your competitors doing the same thing in much better manner. So that's where I say execution plays a very big role, and that's one of the key things. And the other things is execution is more linked towards management. If you look at nowadays, everybody's aspiration, even my aspiration of late was to become a good leader. And a lot of my colleagues and also they gave me a feedback about you have good leadership skills and all. That's where I was kind of overlooking on my management part. So nowadays, if you look at it, there is an imbalance which is created in many of the companies which are not doing good, where it is overdone with management and overdone with management and underperforming with leadership, or vice versa. So it's important for the companies to strike that balance. If not, you will have everybody focusing only on the management part and not allowing, especially the project managers, to focus. It will be too many project management meetings and less on focus on actually tracking the things and resolve the things. Or else it will be too much focus on the product portfolio, what product, what market, rather than looking at do we have the right execution plan, do we have the right capabilities, or do we have the right equipment to handle this for now and for the commercial or the future. So it's also equally important on focusing on execution rather than just focusing on strategy and looking at long-term vision. And one more thing before I want to say is without strategy, execution is aimless. And likewise, without execution, strategy is useless. So those are the key points, John, which I would like to put it on the table.
Aravind, I'm not sure which side you are talking on behalf because you are supporting both strategy as well as execution.
I am strongly saying on execution. At the same time, there should be some balance. Predominantly, I'm towards execution. I mean, you can't say that everything runs by the strategy. Execution is very much important. If you look at nowadays, it's overdone with leadership and less of management. And management is strictly linked to the execution part.
Yeah, sure.
And that's the reason I'm saying execution should be given proper importance.
Okay. Got it. So thanks both of you for summarizing your points. Laila started it very well. She has actually articulated the strategy as a brain, the brain which supplies all the information to the entire body. And then the body doesn't work without the proper signals coming out of the brain. She also said that strategy is kind of an art of doing everything. It's a heart as well. So, and she has also told that strategy will give ways for smart execution. So execution itself, depending on a good strategy, is something which a new flavor which she has brought in. And on the other side, Aravind told that, you know, however brain you have, however intelligence you have, if you are not able to execute, it's of no use. So while the brain is there, but the body is required for action. That is what is really important. So in one word, he was also saying that a strategy without execution is like a hallucination.
Absolutely.
Another aspect is ideas won't make you rich. I mean, that's another point. You might have brilliant ideas, but as long as you don't get into the field and then execute, you will not be able to see the benefits at the end of the day. So very well balanced. I think it's a great start, both of you. Let us get deep dive into both of the aspects. Let me start again with Laila. Laila, please put forward your argument with some additional case studies or examples, which will be very beneficial for our users to listen to.
Yeah, so I will begin with quoting Stephen Covey, who says that all things are created twice, first in the mind and then actually. So if I strike an analogy, it will be first in the mind means strategy, and then when it really happens, it links to execution. So execution cannot be a headless body, right? It needs to be balanced, and there needs to be a guiding center. And why I say this is, when you go out in the market and when you want to start a business, you really want to know where you are getting. So you like to understand your competition, you like to analyze and get a lot of data, unmet needs. We are in the pharmaceutical industry, so we keep looking for unmet medical needs. Similarly, there are many unmet needs, whether you want to target a common population or a niche population. Do you want to work on cost effective strategies, or you just want to have products with additional features? The good part about strategy is you try to be unique, you try to be different, you don't always try to be the best. And these things actually then, as you grow in your organizations, in your businesses, these eventually translate to your vision statement. You don't start a company right away with a vision. It's only when you grow to a certain level that you see, yeah, this is what I want to do in life. So you have actually done the groundwork, you have built in foundation, you have built upon a lot of experience of so many years, you have done your own SWOT analysis, you know where my capability lies, what are my strengths, what are my weaknesses, which area I can go, where I can develop better capability. So with all that, then you have something known as a vision. This is where I'm headed, this is what I want to do in life, this is what my company wants to do in life, this is how we serve the community at large. Then it translates to your own mission. What do I really want to do at ground level? What does my organization need to do? Then this mission is actually broken up into goals, big goals, and then those cascade down to maybe teams, functions, individuals. And when you roll it up, it actually rolls up to your vision and mission. This calls for strategic management. This calls for alignment. Without strategy, so coming back to my statement of being at the heart of everything or being the brain or the power center, this is where the alignment should come out from, or it should emancipate. Otherwise you will have organizations with lots of offices, lots of what do I say, functions, departments, businesses, each one doing their own thing, and there is no alignment between them. They don't really know whether we should be what we should be doing. So to give an example here, you would see that a lot of projects we do are not really adding to the business, but we go on sticking to them because there are so many sunk costs. We feel that one day maybe either we commercialize it. So I'll take a pause here and maybe take in a few questions, and then I'll go to the next point maybe.
Sure. Aravind, do you have any counters to what Laila has articulated so far?
Yeah, I'll just pull up my gloves. So looks like all the damage, everything is getting done only by the strategy guys, because they're the guys who are calling the shots, selling the products, and after halfway run, they're saying this product doesn't make sense. So clearly understand the execution is not making the mistake. The strategy is the guys, or the strategy people are the ones who are making the mistakes, are costing the money to the company. I mean, that's one of the points I'm pointing to. And the other part is execution is very critical. Most of the times we see a lot of products coming into the pipeline, a lot of things. But at the same time, the execution is not done properly. For instance, everybody says like, this is what we want to be different from the market. This is something device we want to bring, or this additional aseptic filling we want to bring, without assessing the capabilities. Until you understand what is your execution capabilities, until you know who is going to do what, no matter how good strategy, whatever plan, whatever funding you have, you will never be in the market. So, for example, we have come across a lot of companies where we did a lot of media fills, play areas, all those things. No matter how strong your team, if people don't understand the basic concept, your product will be never ready. How much ever good strategy you have this many years before the first competitors come, until the execution and the team are there in place, it will never help you to bring a product, and ultimately it will make you drop the product. So yes. Execution, understanding what needs to be done, who is transferring the process, how it needs to be done, is it robust enough? All these things need to be very closely monitored by the management, and that's the reason it makes execution equally important as strategy. If someone says strategy is a very little bit, strategy is a whole bit and execution is a little bit, it is totally a disagreement, or maybe people are overlooking.
Okay.
So I think, John, if I may just add a sentence here. So I think that if you don't execute well, you're anyway not on strategy. So I think I was also saying the same thing. So if you don't execute well, if you don't bring the product on time, we are going to say that you're not on strategy. You did not strategically align to us.
I agree, but
this is what we wanted. Yeah.
And that's important. That's where it's become imperative that while we're doing the strategic planning or finalizing strategy, it's equally important to check what are our execution capabilities. Because there are a lot of things. At times we have to be smart in saying like, I don't think we have this execution capabilities. We have to partner with someone. Or else what is it we have to invest to see how we can improve the execution and long-term benefits. All these things should be thought of, because we have come across a lot of projects after coming to a certain stage, we realized, wait a sec, we don't have these things. And it got further delayed. And finally, we said we have too many players and we have to drop the project or it doesn't make sense. So it should be taught in a holistic manner.
True. I think both of you are coming to a point saying that strategy or execution, these are inseparable. These are already intertwined towards each other. A strategy doesn't exist without a proper execution, and whatever kind of execution you do without a proper strategy is not going to yield you an output which is meaningful for the business. So in one way, I think you have led me towards the
Absolutely.
conclusion. But for this purpose of this debate, I was also doing some research. I was trying to get some of the references or case studies from various companies, from various publication which has been published. There are a lot of examples we have with respect to the companies which could turn around their businesses with a proper strategy. Some of them are in our field, Novo Nordisk. Novo Nordisk is the one first introduced the insulin pen, which is a pen injector. And this strategy has kind of created a blue ocean, and that has also set the trend for the entire other pharmaceutical industries. Today, every product which we are targeting for the patient to self-administer, we are trying to go through the auto-injector mode. And there are other examples like Canon. What could be a better example than General Electric when it comes to strategy? And Jack Welch, who is a kind of a powerhouse or a mothership of all the CEOs from General Electric perspectives. And we had another great example called NetJet. I would like to highlight one case study here. It is about a company called Cemex. And Cemex is a cement company. And this case was explained in the Blue Ocean strategy. You know, cement is like a commodity. We call it as commodity, right? And then it's highly price regulated and a competitive market. But in the Mexico, in this region, the specific company evolved with the strategy. It's called the Patrimonio Hoy program. So it's about community to coming together and to make a gifting system or something like that, where they save everything and then probably gift that to one of the community member, where they actually come up with a kind of a building their own houses or extending their existing houses and all. It's kind of, from a commodity perspective, it has turned around as a gifting for love and gifting for joy. So strategy can do miracles if it is probably designed, and there are so many examples. I have also done a research on is there any company which are very strong in execution but not having a proper strategy, and I could not come about with a decent examples which we can discuss in this debate. So it is very clear that the strategy and executions are interwoven, and then one depends on other. So that gives a way for the evolution of a new concept called the strategy execution. Then the strategy execution is a new field. It's a hot topic in the management today. In fact, a recent survey of CEOs revealed that the chief executives are so concerned about the strategy execution that they rated this as both their number one or number two most challenging issue. For anyone who try to execute strategy, this finding should come as no surprise. It is estimated that more than 60% of the strategies are not fully successfully implemented. When asked to define strategy execution, most managers responded as a statement like, it's a successful implementation of a strategic plan, or it's getting your strategy done. While these phrases are certainly valid, they aren't very helpful in terms of understanding what needs to be done actually to drive the business results. So let's look at some of the mainstream approaches to strategy execution. Strategy execution as a process. The most notable book on date on strategy execution is execution, the discipline of getting things done by Larry Bossitti, Ram Charan. Bossitti is a retired CEO and Charan, a renowned management consultant, make the case for execution as a discipline or a systematic way of exposing reality and acting on it. They explain that the heart of execution lies in three core processes: strategy, operations, and there is a link between these two things that is called the people. So people come between strategy and execution. The information presented in execution is certainly useful, but the authors don't fully explain how organization can implement their three core processes to achieve strategy success. There has been significant advances in this area after the execution has been published. Harvard Business School professor Robert Kaplan and his Palladium group colleague David Norton wrote The Execution Premium, linking strategy to operations for a competitive advantage. In it, they presented the management system, which houses 6 sequential stages intended to help organization to capture what they call an execution premium, a measurable increase in value derived from successful strategy execution. Let me outline the 6 stages in the system currently for the benefit of the users. Develop the strategy, plan the strategy, align the organization, plan operations, monitor and learn, test and adapt. And this has been further explained. If you can Google Kaplan and Norton's article, you will come to know about specific sub-activities which you might trigger in order to get the strategy executed. With this 10-step approach outlined, also, we won't guarantee that the strategy execution will be successful, but it will greatly improve the odds, perhaps pushing the topic down a notch on the list of the CEO concerns. Strategy execution may be difficult to apply, especially for the new managers. So this has been some of the published information what we had with respect to the strategy and execution. And let me give some time for Laila and Aravind to recap from their perspectives. Are you in line with this? Yes, we agree that strategy and execution coexist in order to create value for the organization. You brought in very interesting perspective because you are coming from project management background. You brought in very interesting perspective which is related to that. And yes, it's a long way to go for organizations to implement the strategy execution as a new philosophy or a new work stream. Let me give 1 minute for both of you to recap from your own perspectives, please. Laila, you may go first.
Yeah, so thank you, John, for putting it all together. Yes, I agree completely to what you said about strategy and execution going together to add value. I mean, that's what adds meaning to the whole discussion that we have been having. Finally, it comes to survival of the fittest. So in order to survive, we need to go on strategizing, and execution has to support. So whether we are offering products or services, we need to make sure that we are proactively thinking. We are looking at how we can survive in a world that's full of so much competition and full of such changing dynamics, like we are facing the pandemic and we are trying to quickly adapt. So adapting to change, strategizing, taking the right initiatives with execution to support it. Because as project managers, we focus a lot on execution. Me personally, I am always into execution because I feel execution involves time, cost, and scope. So that's my job and I need to get it executed. But if I'm not on strategy, then probably I'm not looking at the bigger picture and I'm not really adding value to where I should be. But just this little change of attitude might help achieve great goals by aligning to the strategy and then enjoying the execution. So that's my take on this whole topic.
Aligning to the strategy and enjoying the execution, you called it very right. And this is going to be probably a new phrase which we might use in our workplaces.
It just came out so good.
Okay. Excellent. Aravind?
Sure, John. Again, can you hear me?
Yes, yes. Yes, go ahead.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
You have nicely laid down the key points from that execution book, which is also one of my favorite reads. And off late, it's a coincidence. We're talking about the execution. Only a couple of days back, I was just finishing my college modules.
Yeah.
And one of the professor, there you go. I'm trying to complete my management essentials module with the Harvard Business School. And one of my professor, David Garvin, he has simplified it in 3 ways. He said like execution can be divided into 3 things. Easy to remember. It's called the CAP. So C stands for coordination, getting the people to work together, aligning with what the strategy, all these things is. And A is action, making sure people actually get the work done. And P stands for performance, making sure the work meets the key objectives such as quality, cost, and deadlines. So he said, like, no, these are the key things to start your management with. As a manager, you're responsible for the coordination, action, and the performance. So that's where you can, as a header, you can start with this and start splitting it down and see how you can, further make it as a process. So I agree with you what you're saying, and I also agree both the strategy and execution go in hand. And until the company looks holistically from the strategy till the execution till the launch, how it needs to be done, only then they'll be successful. And I totally agree with you what you have said. The new trend which is coming in as the strategy and the execution view, which is very important nowadays.
Yep. So going forward, you might have the department called strategy execution. No, don't be surprised if you have a department like that. And Laila actually touched base on this. It's not the strongest of the species that survives, not more intelligent, but the one is more responsive to the change. The agility and the adaptability is really the key. And the companies which are adapting
Absolutely
are thriving and sustaining.
Yeah.
So with this, the purpose of this pro debate is to make the processes exciting, engaging project team, energetic project manager in order to enhance the project performance. Thank you so much for viewing. Keep on posting your views on this debate. If you would like to hear some other topics or if you'd like to speak on this debate, please be in touch with me. Thank you and have a great day ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, John.
Bye, both of you.
Thanks, John.
Bye.
Thanks, Laila.
Bye. Yeah. Bye, Aravind.
Bye.
Thanks.